Hey guys, Marco the dog trainer here. Today we are going to be doing a review of the Dogtra IQ Plus. Now, just like all my other videos, I'm always going to give a shout out to Dogtra. The last 8 years of my professional dog training career, I've been using Dogtra very, very heavily, and I've had great results like almost every single time. And anytime I've called the company and needed help with customer service, they've always been super, super helpful. So it's really one of the only brands that I feel comfortable referring to friends and family and clients, and really anybody that asks me for a recommendation. Now, I'm always going to start with a caution, which is, as a professional dog trainer, I really understand the importance of how we use this equipment and how we introduce it and how we prepare our dogs before we even put this collar on them. So if you don't know what you're doing or you're new to this type of training, I would highly recommend that you find some kind of professional trainer to help you through this process. So that way we can make sure that you're, being fair to your dog and that you're maximizing what you can get out of this type of training. So now that we got our caution out of the way, let's talk about the IQ Plus a little bit. So the IQ Plus is definitely marketed as a small dog electronic collar. And the majority of the time, that is probably the situation that I'm going to use it in. But don't be fooled by this thing. It actually has a surprising amount of power. I would say my 4 guys back here, they're anywhere between 45 and 70 pounds. And I would say 80% of the time that they're wearing electronic collars, they're probably in the IQ Plus. So if you have a big dog, I don't know if this is the collar I would necessarily go to like right out of the gate. But if you already have an IQ and you've been using it with a smaller dog and you just got a bigger dog, then I would definitely start with this because there's a lot of situations that this will probably work. So let's take a closer look at the buttons, the functions, the features, so we can kind of, narrow it down and figure out if this is the right collar for you and your dog. All right, guys, this is the Dogtra IQ Plus right out of the box. Now, as far as the remote goes, as long as it's charged, it is always turned on. Now, we've got the dial here that whatever number is set on this light is what it's going to be set at. Okay, so right now that's at 0, 20, 40. So that's how you technically read what level it's on. Okay, now a couple different buttons here. We've got the N, that stands for the nick stimulation. So again, doesn't matter how long you hold it down, very, very quick correction. We've got the C setting, which is continuous. So this one, as long as you're holding it down, it's going to stretch that correction, I think up to maybe 11 seconds or so. And then we've got P for pulse, which is just a vibrate feature. Now, you're going to see here that we've got this little switch here that's got a 1 and it's got a 2. Okay, where the IQ Plus always comes with the option to be upgraded to a 2-dog system. So you could just buy a second collar and you can sync it up to that slot number 2. Okay, now as far as charging it goes, it's going to have this little rubber port here. Same thing on the bottom of the collar itself. And the charger comes with an adapter that you would just plug them both in. Now, as far as turning the collar itself on, okay, I'm pretty sure that this is a safety feature that instead of putting a button on here, they use it like a magnet. So we're going to use this red dot here. We're going to hold it up to the red dot here. Okay, if I can sync this up the right way. Okay, and now you see that it's blinking green. That's how I know that it's turned on. And it should blink every couple seconds saying that it's turned on. Now, if it starts blinking orange or red, that usually means that the collar is dying and we need to charge it. Now, the strap is going to be a lot longer than what you need, most likely. So a lot of my clients are going to end up cutting a big chunk of that off just so it fits a little bit better. And some of my clients have even taken the box off and just put it onto a strap that they like more. Now, just like most other Dogtra models, these contact points, you can swap them out for longer or shorter, depending on what your dog's fur is like. And one important distinction that I always like to make about this particular system is that there's no option for a clip. So you can't put the clip on that you wear on your pocket. You can only use this one with the lanyard. And let's jump back into some pros and cons of this particular model, so that way we can kind of figure out if it's the right fit for you. Okay, guys, before we wrap up this video, let's talk about some of the pros and cons to the IQ Plus system. So the first pro is it's a pretty cheap collar. I mean, out of all of the different models we talk about, it's probably one of the cheapest ones that I ever use. The second thing that I really like about it is it can be upgraded to a 2-dog system pretty easily and inexpensively. The third thing that I really like about it is that the remote is pretty small. So I can keep it in my chest pocket, I can keep it in my back pocket, and it's really not a big nuisance. And the last kind of advantage to this collar is it's surprisingly strong, even though it's marketed to smaller dogs. So like I said earlier in the videos, that's in a lot of instances, you'd be surprised the different sizes of dogs that you can use this collar on. Now, as far as the disadvantages go to this particular system is, okay, so one, it only connects from remote to collar up to about 400 yards away, which is kind of small in comparison to a lot of the other models that we talk about. The second thing about this particular model is that it is not quite as waterproof as all of the other models that I use. I don't remember what the exact specifications were that Dogtra was telling me, but I do remember them saying that this particular system is like a level or two less water resistant than all of the other ones that I talk about. Now, another thing that I'm not as crazy about with this system is that the remote does not come with the option to have a clip on it. That, you know, maybe I'm just weird about fixating on the belt clip, but for me, I a lot of times prefer to wear it on my pocket or on my belt as opposed to around my neck with the lanyard. So again, maybe that's just something that is more of a problem for me, but that's definitely something I would think about. And then the last thing that is, a con to some extent is that this remote does not come with a digital display. So the dial that you use to adjust the level of stimulation, it's a little bit limited on how precisely you can adjust that level. And if you're walking late at night, it's going to be really hard to tell what number you have it set on. So again, you can still totally make it work, but it can be a little bit of a nuisance that's at least worth talking about. So those are probably the main things that I would be thinking about with this system. I'm going to be coming out with a couple other comparison videos of models that are similar to help anybody kind of decide, which model is going to work best. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.